Welcome to the Soul Deep Podcast with Jessica Janty. Join me as we dive deep into raw, real, in-depth conversations about life, love, relationships, sexuality, spirituality, what it is we're really here for, and anything in between. I want this to feel like a safe space for anyone on a spiritual journey, trying to find answers in your truth by having open heart and open-minded conversations. And my hope for you as a listener is that you feel this is a safe space here, a place to hear things from a different perspective that may challenge you and your thinking in the best way possible, allowing you to give grace to how you've been raised or what you've been taught or told to believe. And perhaps you find your truth as I search for mine on this journey we call life. So grab your favorite drink, cozy on up to your couch or wherever you listen from, and join me for these soul deep conversations. Welcome back to the podcast. I am Jessica Janty, and today I have a special guest with me, Maggie Boillot, and we actually met through a podcasting group we are both part of on Facebook, and she reached out to be on my podcast, or maybe I reached out for people to be on my podcast, however it went, and then we just connected that way. And so I'm so excited to have her. She has a great story, so I'm really excited to have her with us here today. And I forgot to tell you this before we started, but I love to start all my episodes with just a little bit of breath to ground us into the space here together. So if you're comfortable closing down your eyes, and for you at home, whoever is listening or watching, if you're comfortable closing down your eyes, obviously if you're driving, do not close down your eyes. But so whenever you're ready, just finding yourself in a comfortable spot here, and we're just going to take some breaths in through our nose and then out through our mouth. And just keeping this cycle of breath going, this inhale and exhale, and just finding your own rhythm here. Just letting this breath flow in and out. There's no beginning and no end. And as we take these moments here, just this power of the pause to be with our body, be with our breath, ground ourselves here in this moment, giving ourselves a little bit of peace here in our day. We're often so busy doing and going that just in the being is so powerful. Just being still, being present, being mindful, letting go of anything from earlier today, anything that you have to do later, any to-do lists, and just allowing yourself to be here in the present moment. Anytime you are stressed or anxious or feel like there's just so much going on, if you can just take a couple moments to drop into your breath, drop into your body, it's really beneficial for your health, for your nervous system. So we'll just take a couple more here. Maybe one more together collectively, in through the nose. And our exhale, an audible exhale. Just letting it all go. And whenever you're ready to come back to the space here, thank you for taking that time with me. I feel like anytime you come into a situation, and I love to do this with my clients, even if we're not doing breath work, if we're just doing a coaching session, just because that helps let go of all that noisy chatter that we have. And if we're running late or doing something and we get somewhere, like just even taking those breaths just to ground in and center ourselves is just so helpful, I think. So thank you.
Yeah, that was beautiful.
Yeah, thank you. And usually on the podcast, we talk about what we're drinking, and we had talked beforehand, and I know you are just drinking water, which is so powerful. And I want to actually caveat on that and just say that we often take that for granted. And so I think it was really beautiful that you said, I am literally just here drinking water today, which is great, because I think a lot of us live dehydrated just on a normal basis because we don't drink enough water. And it's so, so important. So I just thought that was a really good point to bring out today.
Yes.
Yeah, and I am drinking just an immunity boosting tea because the last couple days have just felt a little bit like, okay, I feel like something might be coming on, so I'm gonna just drink my tea and see how that goes.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, I would love it if you would introduce yourself and just tell us a little bit about you.
Yeah, absolutely. Firstly, thank you so much for having me on this podcast. I'm excited to learn and grow with other people that are just, aligning with their true selves. And my name is Maggie, first and foremost, and I am an aspiring mindset and self-development coach for women. I have a very, very powerful story that I feel that could impact a lot of women along my road and my journey, feeling into them and letting them know that life does not have to feel the way that it feels at most times. I think a lot of times we feel it's okay to just be okay, or it's okay to feel sad, or it's okay to feel so stuck. It's okay to feel alone. And I think that my mission is really truly to help women understand that that's not the way that life is supposed to be lived. It's supposed to be abundant and joyful, purposeful, living life of fulfillment. I spent lots of my years in that very first feeling that I was explaining, knowing that I needed more, I wanted more, but I was just very much stuck in the way of it is what it is, or this is the life I chose, so I need to be okay with this life that I chose, instead of really truly trying to figure out that life didn't have to be that way. And that's the mission I'm on, is to help other women with that mindset and the self-development of understanding you have to be in control. You have to be in your own power and stand in your truth, allowing other people to see you for who you are,
Mm.
not for who you're not. And that's something that is huge for me. And that's exactly why I'm on this new journey for myself, being able to share my story of my experiences that didn't necessarily redirect me in a terrible situation of my life. It kept me going. It kept me feeling as if there was hope. And I really think that a lot of women right now need that and need to feel that comfort. Knowing you're not alone is a huge part of it.
Mm. Oh, I love that. That whole story
Yes.
was great. So, how did you get to this place? So, you talked about being in this place of feeling sad, stuck, alone. So, how did you get to this place of feeling abundant, purposeful, joyful, all these wonderful words that you use? How did you get here?
Yeah, I think it was honestly going inward, feeling the true feelings that come from your own soul. I actually was just posting this the other day about silence truly is the loudest noise you need to hear most oftentimes.
Mm.
And so for me, it was really truly going inward and reminding myself who I was and who I wanted to become, instead of who I was basically kind of transforming into for the likes of other people or the likes of somebody else that was in my life. And so for me, it was really truly almost going back home, to yourself, going into your soul, seeing you for who you are, seeing your strengths, identifying some of your weaknesses, and being okay with growth. I think growth scares people because you outgrow other people that you think should be in your life forever or are in your life at this moment. And so I think that's what it is for me. It was I knew I needed growth. I knew I needed to figure out exactly what it was I was here to do on this earth, instead of living for somebody else or living in the shadows of somebody else's dream. And I think that that tends to happen a lot of times, is we just kind of settle, or we feel like I've mentioned before, this is kind of as good as it gets, or this is the way a life is supposed to feel. And
Mhm.
for me, it was took a lot of mindset, self-development, growth, and really truly just following my own intuition, my inner voice, and allowing what was supposed to come into my life and allowing it to be in the time that it was supposed to be.
Yeah. You had some really good points there. So I loved the one where you were talking about almost becoming or who you were. I love to say, like, who are you before the world, or who were you before the world told you who you needed to be or who you had to be? So I feel like a lot of us just have lived these lives that we thought, oh, I have to be this. I was brought up this way. And so this is how life looks. Like, I just have to be this person because they need me to be this person, or this is how I've always been. So I can't be truly me. And so I think that was so powerful. And I just wanted to reinforce that because that was beautiful.
Yes.
Also, keeping yourself small, being in your comfort zone because you are afraid. Our subconscious, our body tries to keep us safe. So often
Yes.
it will always choose the familiar hell that you're going through over the unfamiliar, what's on the other side. And it could be amazing and gorgeous and beautiful, but your body is so trained to keep you safe, and it doesn't know what that is. So it's going to keep you small. It's going to keep you playing small, not taking risks out of fear of like, well, what could happen over there? It could be beautiful and wonderful, but your body doesn't know. And so it tries to keep you small, keep you safe. And so that's where that fear comes in, where it is hard for people to, like you said, you don't want to lose people in that fear of growing. Because truly, I mean, I don't know if you've lost people, but I have definitely lost people in this journey that I have been on. And so it is hard because people are like, well, if you lose people, then why would you do it? But it's like, well, you can't keep yourself small and over here just because these people aren't ready to grow with you. So have you lost people along the way? How has that been for you?
Yeah, oddly enough, I was actually just thinking through this a little bit because I've lost a lot of people along my journey, and I think it was all due to choice for myself. And yes, it was hard. And yes, it felt kind of weird, or yes, it felt maybe almost even selfish in a way. I truly know the direction I want to go. I know where I would like to see myself in the future. I know what I need to do. And so a lot of times I feel like we try to choose a different heart or a different way because it's like you said, the familiar, the comfortable, the chaotic mess that we're kind of in feels okay enough instead of maybe losing or shedding some shedding things that you might not really believe in anymore, or maybe they're not aligned with you anymore, the people, the places, the experiences, the opportunities. And so for me, I don't even feel like mine has been only people. It's been opportunities, it's been businesses, life. I really truly had to shed every belief I truly thought I had at a younger age to now become the person that I am today. And that I think is was the scariest part of my journey at the very beginning, but it lasted so short amount of time. But I think we all think it's going to be this crazy chaotic thing for so long. But if you're in this chaos and you choose to shift or pivot even one little bit, it actually opens up so many opportunities that are really truly aligned with you. So I think for me, it wasn't just people, it was just all of the things I was holding on to that were making me play small, feel belittled, not enough. Self-love and self-worth and confidence were completely out the door. And so it was me having to understand to shed those things and be able to then step into that next person of myself.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. That was so good. And I resonate with that so much because my story is similar in that I mean, I let go of a full-time, really well-paying job in the medical field to pursue something that I felt like I was truly called to do. And it was one of the hardest decisions I have ever made to date because it was scary. I had nothing to back me up, nothing on the other side. And it's so hard. There's so many people that are like, I could never do that. And it's like, well, I'm the same as you. Like I felt the same way. Like I carried the benefits and the insurance, and that felt like there's no way I can leave. I am trapped here for the rest of my life. But that was like, I just had to shift my mindset just a little bit to be like, you know what? It's going to be okay. And I can do this. I can make it. I can make something else happen in my life or work in my life. I don't have to stay stuck here in this place that I feel so miserable and drained from. Like there is another side, and it can be beautiful if we just shift our mindset just a little bit. It's really powerful.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I totally agree.
So what do you feel? And I feel like you've talked about this a little bit with, in what you do in coaching and things, but what do you feel like is your soul's purpose?
So I believe that my soul's purpose is to truly step into my own authenticity and unapologetically own my worth,
Yeah.
and then allowing the space for other people. And I say women a lot, and I do feel that sometimes us as women, we have these tribes and we want, and I say this in like such a broad, more spectrum with this, is that everybody, I think a lot of times I focus mainly on women, but I think for me, I think the world would be a super better place if we all could authentically show up as who we are and not try to just, you know, get the validation and get this and opinions and all the things. And so I think that's really truly my purpose, or my soul's purpose, is for me to be able to embody all of this, and then to be able to shed the light onto other people. Because for me, like I had mentioned, the self limiting beliefs, the self-doubt, the, imposter syndromes and all those things, I feel like a lot of times we when we see other people doing things, we believe that they don't have any of those things. But we really truly are all imperfect humans doing the best that we can. And I think that is what is so empowering to understand, is that we don't have to show the world an A++ version of ourselves every single day. And so my purpose really truly goes down to just making sure that people understand you were brought into this world for a reason. You have a special gift, and you are the person that most oftentimes just doesn't see it. So if we could really truly see ourselves the way other people see us, life would change. I really do believe that.
100%. I've had so many conversations about this with my husband too. He's like, I don't understand why you can't see yourself the way that I see you. Like, why do you feel like you can't do this? I can see so much potential. Like, I can see it. I don't know
Yeah.
why you can't see it. And it's so hard. And I feel like there are so many women that deal with that. And I'm sure there are men that deal with it too, but we feel like we see the people on social media and they have so many followers, or they're doing so well. And we're like, oh, that could never be me. I could never get to that point. They are literally just a human being who does things just like you do, gets out of bed the same way. We are all just human. Nobody is better than anybody else, but because of how we are raised in society and all of that, we put people on these pedestals, and we think that is so unattainable that we then just are like, oh, well, I can't do it. And we shut ourselves down instead of being like, no, let's take that and use that as fuel. Like, she was able to create such an amazing business by just stepping into her power. I can do that too. So instead of putting ourselves down and thinking we can't do it because someone has already done it, it's like, no, step into your own power and feel how, okay, she can do it, so I can do it too. Like, that's the ripples that I want to create, is that deep sisterhood of like, hey girl, I got you. You can't believe in yourself right now. I'm going to believe in you until you have enough belief in yourself, because we are all here to make a difference. Like, we all can do that if we just believe it.
Yeah, I love that you say that, because I think for me, like I always say that, if you don't have the belief in yourself, borrow it from somebody else, because that's just what you said, like you're with your husband. And I have people tell me this all the time, like, if you could just see you for who we see you as. And it's just that it's so powerful to know that each and every one of us is so uniquely different, but our journeys can be so much the same, because life is very much the same for everybody. We all have things that mold us and shape us and sometimes destruct us and make us think that, like you said, these people are on different levels than us. but it's just the will and the desire and the passion and that purpose that has to be lit up on fire, I think.
So true. I love that.
Yeah,
So you're doing coaching now, correct?
correct. Yes.
So what did you do, or how long have you been doing this? Or have you been doing it for forever, or what did you do before?
Well, so I feel like I've been a coach in kind of every aspect of my life. So I was a hairstylist for 19 years, and I feel like in that realm it wasn't necessarily coaching, it might have been therapy along with everything else, but just really connecting with the human person and understanding that every single time I would connect with somebody, it was a different story or it was a different thing, or they helped me through life, or they did something for me to click on different levels with them. And so that was kind of my first little coaching alongside of hairstyling. And then I was actually a fitness professional with my ex, and we had a fitness business. So I was coaching women how to stand in their power around health and fitness. And I love to do challenges with them and help them understand that when they put their feet in front of the other, with the accountability and the group and the community that they have around them, that you can become unstoppable, really.
Yeah.
So then that led me to, through some of the things I went through with that relationship alone, I really truly felt like I had this calling to fulfill this purpose of helping other women stand in their power and understand what life really truly can bring to them. And so fast forward to now, about I think I'm actually at 4 years of leaving that relationship behind and really starting over. So it's been about 4 years of me really truly diving into what it is, who it is, why it is, and all the purposeful things around becoming a coach. And I've been practicing, like I said, kind of, I feel like all my life, but truly with this mindset and self-development around women and empowering them. It's been about 6 months of learning and growing alongside of other women to become that coach that I know I can be. And I really want to emphasize this to a lot of other people is that I have struggled a lot lately with why me? Why would someone choose me over someone else? Because there is such this flood or this influx of other people trying to do the same thing that we're doing. But I've been really truly understanding that who we are as a person is who we are going to attract. And there's enough and abundance of everything in life as long as you open up and you hold space for people. I think it's very important. And I will share this little bit about coaching is I am a coach to help women authentically align, be who they are, and really truly embody themselves. And the last 2 or 3 months, I haven't been doing that. I hired a coach for myself.
Yeah.
And if you're not in alignment with what it is that you really truly have the passion and the purpose for, it's not going to feel right. And so I started the whole self-doubt, the limiting beliefs. I don't think I can do this because I was trying to be something that I wasn't. And so had to remind myself, I am a coach. Why am I coaching? Who do I want to coach? And how can I have that woman stand in her power and become the best self that she is if I'm truly sitting here saying, I'm playing small in a way because I was invested in something? Sometimes investments are lessons to understand what it is that you don't want and what you really truly do want. And so I just wanted to share that with you that, like, sometimes just as people growing and learning and changing, you have to honestly go inward and listen. If your body's telling you no, or your heart or your mind or your soul is feeling funny, it's probably funny. It probably is a little bit unaligned, and anything in life that is kind of putting us in different spots and feelings of especially self-doubt, self-confidence, like feeling all these things, you have to listen to yourself and understand. So really, truly, the coaching has come in waves, but now it's like I'm truly having to say to myself, where is my power? And my power has been with me the whole time. It's just different situations in my life have kind of, like we talked about, like it's It's shaped you to believe something or think something, and you truly already know it's inside of you, but you have to kind of experience things to let it out.
Mhm. And it's so true because I feel like as a coach, also,
Mhm.
you can't tell people and expect people to buy into you or buy you as a coach if you aren't willing to do it. You can't expect your client to do what you are not even willing and able to do yourself. So you have to go first. You have to hire the coaches, you have to hire the mentors. I've been out of my profession for 3 years. It was 3 years just this last month. And I've had a coach every step of the way
Mhm.
because I truly believe in this work. I believe it is so powerful. And I know I wouldn't be here. I know I wouldn't have gotten as far as I've gotten, as fast as I've gotten, if I hadn't had one along the way. And I've had one, and it's been the best investment every
Mhm.
time. That's what a coach is giving you that, helping you feel into who you are when you are have lost that belief in yourself, and just
Mhm.
being like, no, I see this in you. And yes, people around you can say it, but it's like when you have that coach or that mentor that is really pouring into you, telling you like, I see this for you and I know you can do this. Like, that is the power of coaching. It's so powerful. So anyone out there that is like, oh, I've been thinking about this is us both telling you here that in order to get yourself further to do, you have to have someone guiding you and helping you along the way. It is so powerful.
Yeah, I think it really is an investment in yourself. You're investing in this person, but you're actually investing in yourself.
Mhm.
Because I think a lot of times people are like, well, I'm putting this investment out there, and I've had this before too. So I'm speaking to myself, but you invest and you're like, okay, this is it, or this is gonna, and you have to understand that sometimes the investments, like I already mentioned, they're to help you to redirect you from what might not feel great either. And so that investment in yourself is what is going to truly make you aligned to who you truly are. So think of it that way. You're investing in your future. You're investing in your fulfillment in your life. You're not investing in that person, you're investing in yourself. And that person is going to be that guider for you, and that person who's maybe just a few steps in front of you. Because
Mhm.
that's really truly all you need. Is sometimes I've hired people that are millions of steps ahead of you, and I think they fail to remember what it feels like to be that true beginner, or what it feels like to be that one person that's just on that verge of saying, life is different, right? And you just have to have that push.
That's really good.
Yeah.
Yeah. So how does life look like now for you? Do you take people, are you in person? Do you do virtual? Like, how do you?
Yeah, so I actually have been coaching. I love virtual because of being able to touch all spaces of the planet, right? And I think that's what's so cool about like us being on Zoom right now and having that connection. I'm coaching a woman from Greece. I'm coaching a woman from North Carolina. I'm coaching, so it's kind of it's cool to understand there's cultural differences, but we're all still that human being. And so I love being in person as well, but virtual has that extender, right? That we can actually really connect with more people, I believe. But I really love that in-person touch as well. And I do have a mission and a vision to be able to host some even retreats or some really truly just those events where you're there, you're in person, you can feel each other's energy. I really love energy. But as of now, I'm just basically doing online, and I did a couple of workshops in the very beginning just to kind of know that this was truly what I wanted to do. It's funny when you know what feeling comes into your body when you do something. I even have my fiance tells me, like, you're a completely different person when you talk about these kinds of things.
Mm.
And it's because that purpose is there, and that's that mission that you might not feel it, but once you start to kind of explore and think about things, it just truly is something that you can't really even point out the feeling. I feel like it's like one of those things that you have to experience yourself, but once you feel that experience, so I just love that coaching aspect because you can reach to so many people, you can talk to other people. And like I said, that cultural thing is so cool as well to be able to coach people from different countries and understanding. it's life is so uniquely ours, but it's so the same. And we all have the same stuff. So I just love being able to kind of do all avenues. But truly, I think the one thing that lights my soul as much on fire as possible is being in person.
Hmm. Yeah. Gosh, I feel like we're so similar in that way too. I was doing a lot of things online and then I'm like, man, do I miss the in-person stuff? My background is being a nurse and so helping people and being in physically with people. And then I went to being behind a desk and then now I was doing coaching and just online and I'm like, I miss the in-person. Like being
Mhm.
physically with someone is just so powerful. And so I have done a couple retreats now and facilitating and I'm like, this is where I could just,
Yeah.
it just feels so different. Like, yes, I love doing online. I feel like I can reach people in that way as well. But there's
Mhm.
just something so powerful about that in-person experience, about those retreats. And I think that's one thing that COVID has kind of taught us is that
Yes.
we need that connection. These
Mhm.
in-person experiences are so important for feeding our soul, for that connection. And that what I love to create is just this sisterhood and these sisterhood ripples that we can just be alongside other women as we are healing and growing and learning. And it's really beautiful. So
Yeah.
yeah, I love
Yeah, I love that. That it speaks to the soul of the right people, right? Of just knowing, like you said, COVID kind of like pushed us all kind of like this distance away. And then I think we're all craving that like community and that love and that surrounding of just being able to embody other people's energies
yeah.
and just being able to see every human being as who they are and what each of us can bring to a situation. You know, we all have a different vibe and a different frequency that we can just pull off of. And I just love that. And I think you can still, I mean, I'm connecting with you and through a screen and miles apart, but I think that, yeah, that in-person touch is just something I just truly love to do. But coaching itself is just so rewarding because you can see people for who they are and just shine that light on them and let them know that it's up to you to see it in yourself, but borrow it from somebody else for a while.
Yeah. And this
Yeah.
point that just came up in my mind, I felt like I needed to share it was, we can invest in coaches, we can invest in all sorts of different things. There's so many programs out there right now, especially for coaches that are trying
Hmm.
to learn, okay, buy this quick, make extra money, or all these different things. And it's like we can buy into all these things, we can do all of this stuff, but we ultimately have to put in the work. Like
Hmm.
if you are
Yeah.
investing your money and your time into a coach, into a program, and whatever it is, like you have to show up. Because if you aren't showing up, like that coach can't do everything for you. That coach can't, like, yes, they can hold your hand for a little bit, but their ultimate job is to give you a push up and be like, all right, let's go. I got you. Like, what can we do? But you are, you are in control of your life. You are in control of your choices and the thoughts and everything that goes on. And so if you want it to work, if you want that power of coaching to be powerful so that you are successful and that you can do XYZ, it can be there, but you have to choose that. Because
Hmm.
there's so often where I'll hear people say, well, man, I invested all this money and it didn't do me any good and I didn't get anywhere. Well, maybe it was like a self-study course or something. I'm like, well, did you finish the course? Did you actually do all the stuff? And they're like, well, no. Well, then how can you say that it didn't get you what you wanted because you didn't fully put yourself into it? So it's like not just having a coach just to be like, okay, I'm going to have a coach and this is going to make me all better. No, you truly have to do the work and you
Hmm.
have to be alongside that person that's trying to pour into you because you are the one that is going to make the changes for yourself. And so that's what I think is really important too.
Yeah, absolutely. I think I'm a guilty as charged with some of that. You know, you get this idea, you get excited, you think that things are just going to magically happen. And I think a lot of times we don't realize that self-development, self-worth, self-healing, all these things that we've talked about through this episode it is a daily practice. It is something that it's just like reps in the gym. You can't go to the gym one day and feel like you've gotten your physique back.
Yeah.
You know, if you've been through things in your life that have really altered your thoughts or your beliefs or your feelings or your actions, you can't just magically appear as somebody else. the next day. You can want it so bad, but you have to desire the change most and first and foremost, because if you don't, then you're right. You're going to hire somebody and you're going to think it's just going to magically happen, or you're going to go to sleep the next morning and things are just going to, because you bought a course, you hired a coach, or the things that you're doing. It's really the action that has to come from it, because I'm a firm believer. And if you don't put the action in, it doesn't work. And I know that from my own experience, because I did. There was times where I thought, cha-ching, and I'm going to just change my life and it's all going to be fine and dandy tomorrow. And you slowly realize that it does take work. It does take the commitment for yourself. And, when you want things to change, you have to make changes, and I think that that's such this one of those statements we hear a lot, but
Mhm.
it's so true. If you want something to change, you have to change,
Yeah.
and you have to be okay with, like we've talked about, losing the people, losing the opportunities, losing the relationships, losing those things that no longer serve you.
Mm.
And you're holding on to them for all the wrong reasons.
Yeah.
I held on to something for so long because I felt like I was a part of something. And it was the only thing in my life that would make me who I was. So I had this identity that I thought that's who I was. And then I thought to myself, like, I won't have a life if I don't have this certain thing in my life. But then I had to realize, by losing everything I had and worked for in my life was actually what I needed to do to step into this version of myself, being confident and having a successful business and going after the life of fulfillment and passion and joy, like we all should be doing.
Yeah, that was really good.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, is there anything I like to ask people too sometimes on these podcasts? Is is there anything like where you're at in life right now
Mm-hmm.
and how you're living and doing the coaching and all that? Is there a big shift in how you were maybe raised, taught, and told to believe, born into, and how it looks now? Has there been a shift in who you were to who you are now?
That's kind of a funny question for me, because I feel like I've always been the kind of wild child in my family.
Mhm.
And so I think it's more me being able to continue to step into that and knowing it's okay, and knowing that my family still loves me, and knowing that they may all think I am the crazy wild child, the one that just never really truly knows exactly what she's doing, or, feels a little off at times. But all three of, I have a brother and then my parents, and they all chose something that they aligned with right away. They loved it. They just did it, And so for me, it was like I watched my parents. They never said they didn't like their passion or their career or their things like that, but I think for me, it was like they were molded into, this is the direction. I always talk that they're on this line and they like to follow the line. And here I am, like, well, let's see what's on this side of the line and let's see what's on this side of the line. And I think that it's just been something that I've always embodied. And
Mm.
then I was kind of stuck in a pattern for a long time, that then I truly was realizing that, like, that was kind of that feeling I was thinking of, like, even though my parents had what they wanted and they were fine with it, but it was like I was staying in this pattern of, like, well, I guess this is I'm just going to stay on this straight and narrow path, when life really truly is about kind of looking and seeing. I don't know if, referencing, like, when you're in that, I think it's a meme or something, where the guy is in the school bus and one's looking at this side and it's just rock and ugly, and the other one's looking at just opportunities and beautiful. And I think of that about life all the time, is it's like I am always the one that's looking over here thinking, what's next? What can I do? How can I make a change? How can I better myself? And so being raised in a household where it was just kind of like, whoop, this is where we're going. This is what we're doing. I feel like I've always had that, but I'm really embodying it now and saying that you don't have to be like everybody else. You don't have to stay in the same belief pattern that you might have been brought up in. It's about aligning with who you are and what sets your soul on fire. Because a lot of times I think we think well, if it makes me feel this way and I'm so good and all these things are so exciting in my life, what about this person that I need to stay small for?
Yeah.
And then you start to do the things that don't align with that next best version of yourself. And instead, that's where I think a lot of people think it's like, just stay this way, just stay this way, just stay here, just stay here.
Mm.
And instead, I think if we could all just open our eyes up to that sometimes opportunities could be a big failure, but they're there to redirect you, not destruct you and keep you to where you think you should or shouldn't be. And so I think that's like a huge part of my life is that I've always embodied it, but I thought, well, maybe I shouldn't. And then now I'm like, why shouldn't I?
Yes.
Why shouldn't I? Why shouldn't I believe in going after what I truly desire, what I truly want out of my life, what I have, what I can share, what I can receive and give all in the same breath is just so important. So I think it's very much more like think of what you went through, what you've gone through, all the things, and realize that like it's okay
Mm.
to have a different belief than other people in your family, even, or in your circle, your close friend circle, and sometimes even in your relationships. And I've had all three. So
Mm.
it's important to really, truly still, I think it's just the power of this entire podcast is inward, inward and knowing who you are, what value you bring and capitalizing off of that and trying out experiences that truly make you feel fulfilled
Mm.
and passionate about your life.
Yeah. Wow, I love that. There was so much good in that, what you just said. And it's so interesting because a lot of people on this journey, a lot of people that I've met have felt like you, or they were call themselves more like the black sheep of the family, or just the wild child, or the person that just never knew quite what they wanted to do, or if they didn't quite always fit in. And I'm over here like I was the opposite. I was very much this I felt like I had to be a perfectionist, and I was very much, I call myself a recovering people pleaser because I felt like I had to fit in this box and I had to do exactly what I was told. I didn't question. I just like followed that straight line. And I was like, okay, well, I feel like I want to help people, so I'm going to be a nurse. Because 20 years ago, now there's so many different things that you can be, or there's so much that you can learn about to be. But at the time, if you wanted to help people, it was basically an EMT or a nurse, or I just felt like that's where I had to go and what I had to do. And I was great at it, but I never questioned anything. And so over the last 3 years, it's been me really feeling into what you were talking about. Like, okay, we don't all have to believe the same thing. Like, why did I feel like that? And we don't all have to think the same thoughts, and we don't all have to do the same thing. I could change my career. I just thought you have to be in something and you stay in that until you die. That's just how it goes. And so the last 3 years have really opened my eyes to so many different other possibilities and just ways of life and thinking and believing. And it's just really interesting listening and learning from other people's perspectives and how they were brought up and born and how they are living life now. Because to me, it's so fascinating because I wasn't that wild child. I wasn't the person that ever questioned and doubted. And I just like did what I thought I had to do. And I became this person that I didn't even know who I was because
Mhm.
it just was what everybody else wanted me to be. And so it's a huge premise of this podcast is being who you truly are and stepping into your true authentic nature and yourself, because then you're going to attract the people that are for you. You're not going to have all these broken, I don't want to say broken relationships because that's not true, because I feel like people come into your life for a reason.
Right.
There's no wrong relationship. I feel like it's all for our learning and our growing and our healing and all of it. But once you strip away those pieces of you that you are just pretending or trying to fit in with, that's when the people that are really meant to align with you are going to find you. That's when your soulmate clients are going to find you. That's when your
Mhm.
soulmate partner is going to find you. That's just when you live in that vibration and that resonance of being your true authentic self.
Mhm.
That's when it's like that ease and flow comes because you are just being who you are meant to be here instead of trying to fit yourself into a box that you don't fit in. So, yeah.
Yeah. I love that. I love that. And I think that once you start doing this type of work and you really truly realize it, like I was explaining earlier, like you get into situations and you're like, whoa, this doesn't feel good. And
Mhm.
it's such this power that you start to have around yourself. And it's so rewarding to start to feel that who I am is who I am, and the right people, the right places, the opportunities are going to flood into me because of who I am.
Yes.
And that's so powerful. So I love that you share that because I think it's seriously is one of those things that a lot of people have happened. For me, it wasn't necessarily with my parents, it was through a relationship I had. So I think we have to realize that it doesn't just come from your upbringing if you have a parent's situation or you have, it can be coming from work environments. It can come from any type of place where you feel like you're truly not being who you are because, like you said, a people pleaser, or you truly maybe don't know because you haven't experienced the feelings of becoming who you are and loving
Mm.
yourself for every single flaw, strength, weakness, everything. Because we were truly born to be ourselves.
Mhm.
We weren't born to mold and shape into an environment to make other people feel safe
Mm.
and make ourselves feel unsafe and unsure and lack confidence and lack that. It's powerful to think that way,
Yes.
right? You mold because you want to have other people feel better, but then who are you hurting? I used to say that all the time. Leave this relationship that's making you this way. And I would always say, I'm not hurting anybody but myself.
Mm.
So leave me alone. Because I hadn't truly realized that it really truly was destructing my life. My whole life was being stripped away from me because of who I thought I should be or how I should act.
Mm. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's so powerful. And it's so hard. I'm in a couple moms groups and I see all the time just women reaching out like, I'm just stuck in this relationship, but I feel like I can't leave because I don't know how to do it by myself, or I'm not confident in myself, or I don't know, and it breaks my heart because there's so many people struggling, just feeling
Mhm.
like they are not good enough or they can't do it on their own. And they just aren't being themselves. They're just stuck in this cycle of I am this person because this is who I have to be
Right.
other person or to make them feel better or so that our relationship stays stable. I just have to be this version of this person. And it's so sad to watch. So
Yeah, it is so sad. And I think that that brings back the point I talked about earlier of like, and you said that the hard, like choose your hard. You
yeah.
have to, I just did an Instagram reel about this. Is like, what hard are you choosing? Because the hard to stay stuck and to stay here lasts forever.
Mm.
It will last forever because you stay stuck. You stay not believing you can do it on your own, believing that you might not be worthy of it. You might not. So that hard is daily, repetitive action to your brain that just is going to continue, like I said, make you feel the things. And instead, if you choose the heart of saying, you know what, it might be really hard to do this, but as soon as I'm on the other side, life is going to change. And that happened for me. And I want women to hear this loud and clear. I literally had nothing but a backpack when I left because I thought to myself, the hard is staying stuck. And this hard for a few days, a few months, maybe even a year is going to change my life. And instead, if you stay where you're not loved or cherished, or and it could be that you're in a loving relationship but you're the person that needs the change, or however it could be. I just encourage women to stand in their own strength and their power and know that the hard could last a lifetime or it could last momentarily until you make the decision. It's almost like when a car drives off the lot, it depreciates. Well, when your body drives off of a thing, it's going to appreciate in value. I mean, it's just going to, you yourself
Mm.
being able to make that one step, that really hard step is life changing. I remember saying to myself, I live in the Rocky Mountains. And I left and I thought, the sky is blue. There's mountains. I mean, it was this weird environmental shift for me that was instantaneous. And that's when you start to feel confident again. You're worthy, you're deserving, because life is hard over here. And it's going to be hard for a minute until you can really truly say,
Yeah.
why was I holding on to that for so long?
Yeah. That is so good.
Yeah.
We didn't even really get into like your backstory, and I don't know if
Yeah.
you want to at all, but how, I don't know if you were in an abusive relationship or what your story is, but how did you make that decision to leave?
So I was 24 when I met my ex, and he was 40. And I think for me, it was, I had just gone through another life experience and I was really craving love and attention. And I got stuck in the trap of believing things that were, maybe not true. And my life was for 10 solid years built off of manipulation, lies, cheating, and really truly myself allowing it because I didn't truly know I deserved better. I deserved more. I had seen myself go through instances with my dad's infidelity. Then I saw my first boyfriends and things. And so it just felt like this was a normal thing. Oh, well, everybody must cheat. Everybody must have this sadness. And for me, mine wasn't a physical abuse. It was mentally and emotionally. And it's almost just as hard because if you can imagine when you've been told something one time, you believe it. Right, wrong, good, bad, you believe it, right? You just, it comes in and it's like your brain goes. And so if you continue to do that, that's what happened to me. Was I truly just was led to believe that this was the life I was going to be living, and it was okay to allow those types of things. And then I think we all have an I'm done, enough is enough, or for me, it was a fuck it moment. I cannot live my life like this anymore. I cannot. And I think a lot of times we all have had a moment like that. And then we decide whether or not it's enough of a moment to push us to the other side, or if it just continues to keep us stuck. And trust me, I was very stuck. I would leave, I would come back. I would leave, I would come back. But until I finally started making mindset shifts on my own and working on my own self-belief and what it was that I truly wanted out of my own life, was the moment that my life changed. And I did it on my own in the beginning because I didn't have the strength or the power to do anything outside of it. It was more just, I needed to come home, like I talked about in the beginning. Needed to come home to myself first and foremost. And then the courageousness and the strength that took place the day that I decided to leave was probably one of the most impactful days of my life, knowing that I could stand in my own strength and my own power and say, I'm not going to allow this anymore. I'm just not. And so I think it's one of those things you just have got to continue to remind yourself that. I think we said this in the beginning, our bodies are addicted to the chaos and the things that we have lived for far too long. And our bodies will protect us from finding the new. It'll protect us from jumping to the other side because it's scary, but it really truly is that fear of facing what you need to face to be able to connect with what you truly deserve. And I think I say deserve all the time because it's like we all deserve life of fulfillment, happiness, joy, purpose. And it's stripped away from us in different ways. And so I think that that's just so powerful to understand. Like for me, it was I had to build my own strength and confidence. And I didn't know how to do it. I didn't. But I trusted in myself and I trusted that my life could look a heck of a lot different if I decided to take the one huge, courageous step.
Yeah. Trusting in yourself. It's such a huge, huge piece.
Yeah.
Because
And
if
we don't.
if you don't, how is anybody else going to trust in you? You
Right.
know? Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that's the biggest part of it is you have to trust your inner voice, your inner intuition. Because I think most of the time they always say women have this intuition. I think we all have an inner voice. And sometimes you just have to turn it up and listen to it a little deeper and understand that really, truly what is coming. When I said silence is the loudest noise you need to hear, if you ever sit in silence, the noises come in your head of what it is that truly align with who you are. And I think it's so important and powerful that even spending 5 minutes with yourself every single day in complete silence, just thinking of who you are and what you bring to the table and embodying what other people see from you and believing it in yourself, it could be a total life-changing experience for you. And it sometimes is so hard to see it. And trust me, I feel it. I don't even see it in myself sometimes. But when you can take the lens and just zoom out and see what the world needs from you, it will come because it's a powerful thing when you're aligned and you're energetically in flow. I always call them downloads. They come in and they're effortless. I like to call them wisdom showers too, where you just truly can feel a different source of energy. It's not you, it's a magical, whether you believe God, universal, divine, whatever it is, it's something powerful that can really truly come into your life and help you navigate through the storms and get through it and become who you really truly are meant to be. We've already all been there. It's in us. That's why I call it my Instagram page is Power Within Her. The power is within each and every single one of us. It's just been stifled down through life experiences.
So good.
Yeah.
This has been such
Yes.
a great conversation. I feel like
Yes.
super, super empowering. So I love this. And I love that we've never really even had conversations outside of this. That's why I just know that whoever is meant to be on here is going to be on here. And just having these really powerful, deep conversations is what I'm here for. And I know you are as well. So thank you
Yes.
so much for being here. Is there
Absolutely.
anything you'd like to share before we sign out here today?
No, I think I just would love to extend my gratitude and thankfulness to you, allowing me and your safe space. And I think that's what's so powerful about this is being able to share experiences with each other. Like you said, we haven't even really truly had connection before this, but the connection was truly there. And I just appreciate you opening up your safe space for me and allowing me to come in and share exactly what I needed to share today, because it all came from my heart. And I think that's the biggest part of it too, is you don't have to practice things. What comes out when it's meant to come out is really truly the magic sauce, I believe. So this was all just each of us sharing our heart and sharing the experiences. So I really appreciate you, and I really enjoyed being on your show. So
Awesome. Thank you so much. And we will put all of your links, your Instagram, if I don't know if you have a website or anything like that, whatever you have, I will put
okay,
all of it on the show notes here. So if you want to
great.
connect with Maggie, definitely find her where she's at. So thank you so
Yeah.
much for being here today.
Yes, thank you.
Oh, thank you for listening to this episode. I hope you loved listening as much as I loved recording. Each and every conversation that I have here on this podcast just lights my soul on fire. I love having conversations where we explore and challenge our ways of thinking. So if you've resonated with anything here and you're looking for more, please connect with me on Facebook in my Soul Deep community group, which is free. I'm also offering all my listeners a free month in my Soul Deep Connection membership. I have poured my heart and soul into this membership, bringing you resources to help you grow into the best and truest version of yourself. I've used my knowledge and experience as a nurse, combined with my knowledge and experience as a coach, breathwork facilitator, and somatic embodiment guide. This library consists of breathwork, kriyas, and other resources and modalities that will help you learn about and give you the healing tools to live the life you've been dreaming about, and to help you find your true passion and zest for life again. This library of resources is vital for everyday maintenance. And on top of the library of resources, there are live monthly calls, ranging from breathwork, kundalini, full moon or new moon circles, as well as guest speakers on a variety of different topics, from decluttering to marketing to sisterhood and all things healing and wellness. So make sure you join today to get you back on track to living that thriving life that you are longing for. Remember, the first month is free, and my hope is that you find so much value that staying is an absolute no-brainer. It really is everything that I was looking for as I started my journey, and so much more. I truly hope to see you inside my community. And if you haven't yet, please follow me here and on social. Like and subscribe, and make sure to share your favorite episode with your friends and community. And when you do, make sure to tag me in that post. If you tag me, you'll be entered into a drawing for that month where you can win a free one-to-one session, breathwork or coaching session with me. All the links will be in the show notes here below. Until next time, Soul Deep fam, and in the words of my dear friend Mary Lacey Banks, I'm holding you so tight in a thought hug.